All right, Trump is in a dust-up with Club for Growth, and I want to quote from a letter that seems to distinguish itself from Trump saying that the group was begging him for money. This is from the club. During our meeting, Mr. Trump expressed an interest in supporting the Club for Growth and its efforts to promote pro-growth limited government policy. Enclosed is a letter for Mr. Trump and a request for a $1 million contribution to the Club for Growth. Now, David McIntosh is president of Club for Growth, signed that letter, and now Donald Trump is saying, I think, basically, it was bogus. You guys were begging, thought you guys were ripping him off. I'm paraphrasing. Where are relations now? Have you guys talked since?
We have not talked since the meeting. He invited me to his office and said, I like what you do and I want to give you money. So we sent the letter. But we're doing
I'm sorry, David. You first met with him, talked about the idea of him giving money?
He brought it up.
He brought it up.
He liked what we did. I told him, look, we disagree with you about raising taxes. We disagree with you about tariffs on Chinese goods. Nonetheless, he said, send me a letter. I'll send you something. I think, Neil, you know, he's that type of entertainer that's on reality TV shows. I think he might have been thinking, I'll give him some money and the club will be quiet. Because 4 years ago, we pointed out his government-funded health care program was more liberal than Barack Obama's. We pointed out that raising taxes would be a disaster for the economy.
So why did you hit him up for money, if you feel this way?
Well, we will accept money from anybody, and we use it to promote free market pro-growth policy.
I know that, but here's someone who's an anathema to your cause then, right? Because of his views on taxes and on punishing companies that send jobs overseas, you know what I mean?
we weren't going to be silent. That's what we're doing now, is pointing out Donald Trump's probably the most liberal guy running for president. Well, with the possible exception of Bernie Sanders.
But if he had given you the $1 million, would you and I be chatting right now?
Sure, we would be. The club's going to do what the club does. We have for years pointed out when liberals are running in the Republican primary that they're not pro-growth. We've pointed out when there are great candidates like Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul running. And that's our job, to tell the voters what's their record.
But what is it that irks you most about him, then? The fact that he does espouse taxes on very rich individuals, punish companies that do ship jobs abroad, because that is that point at least, is a very popular broad-base approach that might help a Republican nominee in a general election.
You know, Neil, he has a long list of really liberal policies. He's for single payer, more liberal government health care than Barack Obama. He's for a huge 5.7 trillion tax dollar increase. He's for taking private property and turning it over to businesses to make profits. He's
but
also supported the Wall Street bailout.
You did hit him up for money, so he can always come back and say, if I'm such a loathsome figure, they came to my office hat in hand, right?
He invited us to come, said, I want to give you money. We're happy to take anybody's contribution. We use it to promote pro-growth policies. But
he says that's not the case. You say that is the case, right? Bottom line.
Yeah. We're going to always tell the truth about his record. He can go be the entertainer, the carnival barker who says, don't, you know, look at this letter, don't pay attention that I'm for tax increases and other liberal policies. But we're going to keep pointing that out to the voters.
David, Club for Growth, thank you very much. I'm glad you took the time.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you know, there's been a bit of crime wave in New York lately, and Bill de Blasio, the mayor, is really getting ripped a new one over it. Now there's a challenger emerging from the oddest of places after this.